He strikes with blinding speed, and his opponent barely has time to brace for the impact, but he's already dominating the exchange in the gym. His sparring partner winces in pain, because Su Hong's diamond fist has reached a terrifying new level of mastery. And in this world, mastering a martial art is a brutal climb through 5 distinct tiers, so his friend can only watch in awe as he shows off his progress. But Su Hong is relentless, demanding they keep training. Meanwhile, his friend just wants to go home and eat. Then his teacher interrupts, reminding him to dress properly, because he's finally tracked him down to discuss the upcoming martial science exam. But there's a problem because Su Hong hasn't paid the massive 30,000 yuan registration fee. And even though his teacher sympathizes with his family's struggle, the rules are absolute. So left alone in the gym, he continues to train with a heavy heart, obsessing over that impossible sum of money. Because ever since his parents died in a beast disaster when he was only 3, his aunt and uncle have sacrificed everything to support his martial arts dream, and in an era where monsters rule, becoming a high-earning martial artist is their only hope. But he feels like a burden, so he heads home late at night, where he overhears his aunt and uncle debating how to scrape together his tuition, and they refuse to let his talent go to waste, even suggesting they stop buying medicine for his uncle's recovery to save cash. He stands outside, shattered by their selflessness, and he makes a silent vow to fix this himself. He steps inside trying to act normal, but he insists on taking over the chores so they can rest. Later that night, staring out the window, he decides he's done relying on them, and he realizes there's only one place to earn that kind of money fast. The next day, he stands before the imposing structure of the underground arena, where the crowd roars for blood. And the announcer introduces the Minotaur, his new identity for the night. The stakes are simple: win 4 matches or walk away with nothing. The crowd mocks him as a suicidal rookie, but the announcer tells him to provoke them to get the hype going. So he leans into the role, roaring that he's invincible to anyone below the warrior realm. The spectators are stunned by his arrogance, and the match finally begins. He knows the killing intent here is deadly, but his first opponent charges in, and Su Hong immediately spots the flaw in his stance. The opponent strikes, but Su Hong counters with his diamond fist, landing a brutal blow that sends the guy flying, and just like that, he secures his first victory. The crowd goes wild as he claims his first win. But he does not have time to celebrate, because a new, tougher fighter steps into the ring. He prepares to test his strength against this guy, and they clash in a blur of motion, trading heavy blows that echo through the arena. The opponent is shocked by his power, but Su Hong realizes he's actually the stronger one, so he lands a decisive strike, exploiting the openings in his opponent's waist and delivering a crushing kick that ends the fight. The crowd is stunned, and he racks up his second consecutive win. Meanwhile, from the shadows, the arena boss watches, noting that this kid is far stronger than an ordinary apprentice. After he secures his third win, the boss sends his right-hand man to recruit him for match fixing. Su Hong is exhausted, but focused, knowing he's just one win away from the prize money. But then the legendary White Fox steps into the ring. The crowd gasps because White Fox is a known quasi-warrior, and Su Hong knows this will be his hardest fight yet. White Fox smirks behind his mask, promising to control his strength, but the tension in the arena is suffocating. They charge at each other, and Su Hong decides to go all out from the very first second, meeting White Fox's strike head-on. The impact is jarring, and Su Hong realizes with horror that White Fox is actually a true warrior who's been suppressing his energy. White Fox takes a breath and unleashes the devastating Thunder Rush fist, leaving Su Hong coughing up blood. The crowd realizes the match is rigged, but White Fox just keeps pummeling him, and Su Hong desperately tries to find a way to counter. White Fox rains down blows, and Su Hong barely manages to block, taking hit after hit until he's finally knocked across the ring. His vision starts to fade, and White Fox stands over him, gloating that he's lost the prize money. He offers him a spot in their match-fixing ring, threatening him with a fate worse than death if he refuses. Su Hong looks up, disgusted by their lack of honor, and he rejects the deal entirely. White Fox snaps, moving to cripple him, but Su Hong's eyes flare with a new dark intensity. He dodges the attack, his gaze locking onto his enemy, and he refuses to fall, burning with a desperate internal fire. White Fox is stunned that he's still standing, and Su Hong remembers his family's sacrifices, refusing to let that be his future. He decides he will pay any price to win, and he unleashes everything he has left. Su Hong stares down his opponent, his aura blazing, as he vows to give everything to win. And with a sudden burst of speed, he launches himself into the fray, his eyes burning with a newfound cold intensity. He finds himself in a mysterious shadow-filled realm, and suddenly, a towering golden entity manifests before him, offering him a single life-changing chance. Su Hong accepts, and energy swirls around him as a glowing ethereal interface materializes in the air, displaying his personal stats and a daunting new quest. He reaches out, wondering if the display is touch-operated, and as he taps it, the details of his path of the arena quest reveal themselves, leaving him stunned by the prospect of a beginner tutorial. Suddenly, he's thrust into combat, and he narrowly dodges a lethal strike, realizing with shock that he's fighting a perfect clone of himself, but he quickly shifts his mindset, deciding to use this as a training opportunity. He blocks a heavy blow, and they trade strikes in a blur of motion, but Su Hong miscalculates, taking a brutal hit that leaves him coughing up blood. He stumbles back, reeling from the impact, yet he notices his progress bar has jumped to 10%. And he regains his stance, ready to push his limits further. They charge at each other again, and their fists collide repeatedly, with his mastery climbing with every exchange as he pushes his movement technique to the brink of perfection. The battle intensifies, and with a final explosive strike, he pushes his palm technique to the next level, followed by his footwork, which reaches a state of subtle mastery, and finally his diamond fist shatters through to grand achievement. The system chimes with a notification confirming he's cleared the trial, and he returns to the arena where the boss's right-hand man is waiting to ambush him. The man lunges with a sneer, but Su Hong effortlessly parries the attack, mocking his opponent's lack of speed before winding up a devastating counterpunch which shatters the man's mask and sends him sprawling to the floor. Su Hong stands tall, the victor, leaving the crowd in stunned absolute silence as his defeated opponent lies broken at his feet. He demands his prize money from the announcer, while the arena boss watches from above, shocked that a mere apprentice could reach such heights. And he orders his men to tail the boy and uncover his true identity. Su Hong walks through the dark alleys, sensing he's being followed, so he uses his superior speed to vanish into the shadows, leaving the confused thugs searching for a ghost. He clings to the side of a building, watching them pass below, and under the cover of the night sky, he finally makes it home, where his aunt and uncle are shocked to see a massive stack of cash on the table. He lies, claiming a dojo master sponsored his training, and he reassures them, asking if they still do not trust his word as they weep with joy, finally believing that their boy has truly made it. Later, Su Hong leaps onto the rooftop, relieved that his family's future is finally secure, and he checks his system, noting his stats have not shifted until he realizes he has 67 points to spend. He eagerly allocates the points, watching his blood energy surge to 90, and his eyes flare with newfound power as his entire body begins to glow with an intense internal heat. He realizes he's now at the level of a Quasi warrior, and he dumps the remaining points into his energy, feeling his physical toughness skyrocket as his old injuries vanish. He sprints across the rooftops, deciding to head to the school's arena to test his new strength, and he arrives at the deserted training ground where he spots the heavy-duty combat power tester. He winds up holding back 30% of his power, his focus sharpening to a razor's edge, and he unleashes a strike that slams into the machine with a thunderous boom. He pulls back, wincing as the machine sparks and crumbles under the sheer force of his blow, and he realizes he's in trouble, so he immediately bolts from the scene. The school master arrives to find his precious equipment destroyed, and he screams in rage, vowing to make the culprits pay. The school gymnasium is buzzing with rumors, as students whisper about Su Hong's mysterious disappearance and the aftermath of his late-night training, with everyone convinced he's been punished for destroying the school's combat power tester. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts as a Tier 3 warrior, Chen Tian, takes the stage, announcing he will teach the prestigious C-rank Thunder Rush Fist to the entire student body. Su Hong watches intently, realizing this is the same technique White Fox used against him, and he knows he must seize this golden opportunity to level up. Chen Tian begins his demonstration, showing no mercy, and with every strike he explains the tiers of mastery, from the basic thunderclap to the advanced levels of power, showcasing the sheer force of his current grand achievement realm. He warns the students that reaching even the beginner level is a massive feat, and as he begins the second demonstration, the students struggle to keep pace. Hours pass, and the students are completely drained, shaking with exhaustion as they realize how impossibly difficult this technique is. They look around for Su Hong, only to find he's vanished, having already mastered the beginner level on his own. Meanwhile, the school masters watch from the sidelines, debating the talent of their top student Chen Shan, but Chen Tian remains unimpressed, claiming the current batch is lacking. They lament how cruel the path of martial arts is, until a sudden thunderous shockwave ripples through the air. They turn to see a student radiating intense energy, having achieved the impossible grand achievement level in just half a day. Chen Tian is left speechless, his hands trembling, as he finally understands the true potential of the boy before him. Su Hong's fist crackles with raw electric power, and he unleashes the Thunder Rush Fist with devastating precision. The masters are stunned, realizing he's broken through to a level they never expected, and they scramble to find out exactly who this prodigy is. But by the time they reach the field, Su Hong has already disappeared into the city, already exhausted from his training and looking for his next challenge. He checks his system interface, desperate to find a way to earn more points, and heads straight to the Rage Thunder Dojo to find a worthy opponent. Inside, the students are locked in intense spear training, and Su Hong steps in, looking to get some real practice. Suddenly, a bully slams a student to the ground, mocking their lack of skill and blaming it on their poor comprehension. Su Hong learns that the bully is Li Yan, a disciple of a powerful, arrogant instructor, and he watches as Li Yan continues to terrorize the common students. Li Yan spots Su Hong and sneers, daring him to challenge him, but Su Hong calmly grabs his wrist, stopping him in his tracks. He suggests they keep it to light contact, though Li Yan demands a full one-on-one fight in the ring. Before they can clash, the instructor enters, demanding to know the cause of the commotion, and Li Yan backs off, claiming Su Hong got lucky. Su Hong's eyes narrow, his patience for their arrogance wearing thin as the instructor begins his single high-level demonstration of the Rage Sea Spear technique. The spear moves like a dragon, its momentum crashing like waves, and the instructor scoffs, certain that none of the useless students could ever replicate it. Su Hong steps forward, his gaze locked onto the technique, his mind recording every single movement with perfect clarity. The spear clatters to the floor, and the instructor turns his back, leaving the students to fend for themselves. The students complain that they could not see a thing, but Su Hong stands in the center, already internalizing the dragon-like flow of the spear. He grips the weapon, his aura shifting, and he lunges forward, his movements mirroring the master's perfectly. The entire room goes silent as they watch him perform the technique, and the instructor spins around, shocked to see the boy actually pulling it off. Su Hong finishes the form with a powerful strike, and Li Yan stares in disbelief, realizing he's found a true genius. He steps forward, pretending to offer pointers to hide his jealousy, and they take their positions for a spar. A friend warns Su Hong to be careful, but he just smiles, and he readies his spear, inviting the challenge. Li Yan attacks with everything he has, shouting his own mastery, but Su Hong closes his eyes, entering a state of total focus. He unleashes the Rage Sea Spear technique with terrifying fluid perfection, leaving Li Yan horrified as he realizes he's been completely outclassed. Su Hong unleashes the Rage Sea Spear technique with fluid, deadly precision, and the sheer force of his strike leaves his opponent reeling in total shock. Li Yan can't believe his eyes, wondering how a non-warrior could possibly master such a technique so quickly, while Su Hong's eyes burn with the intensity of his growing power. The clash ends with Su Hong completely outclassing his rival, and as the system confirms his points, he realizes that sparring is the perfect way to level up. Li Yan collapses in disbelief, his pride shattered by the realization that he's been surpassed, and he spirals into a dark, jealous rage, lashing out in a desperate, pathetic attempt to regain his dignity. But Su Hong effortlessly stops him, his calm demeanor silencing the room, and the instructor steps in, demanding an end to the chaos. He scolds Li Yan for his poor sportsmanship, leaving the bully humiliated and speechless, while the instructor marvels at Su Hong's genius, admitting that even elite prodigies could not match this speed. He apologizes to Su Hong, hoping to smooth things over with such a rare talent, but Su Hong just finds the sudden change in attitude unsettling. He heads home exhausted, but satisfied with the massive gains he's made today, checking his system to see his stats climbing higher than ever before. With the school exams looming, he knows he needs a high-grade weapon to compete, and he realizes that the spear is his true calling. But the price tag for a quality alloy spear is way out of his reach. He racks his brain for a way to earn more cash, and he spots an opportunity. The city is paying top dollar for warriors to hunt fierce beasts in the wild. It's a dangerous gamble, but he's ready to take it. He returns home, where he finds his aunt and uncle still pushing themselves to work despite his previous gifts. He greets them, his heart aching to see them struggle, and he insists on taking over their burdens, offering them comfort and support while reassuring them that he's doing well and does not need them to overwork themselves. They worry about his future, wanting to save every penny for his training, but Su Hong knows he needs to secure their comfort once and for all. He sets his sights on the wilderness, determined to claim the bounty, and he spends his remaining points to push his blood energy to the limit, feeling his strength surge as he stands on the brink of becoming a true warrior. After 2 days of non-stop training, he masters every skill to perfection, and he finally feels ready to face the dangers outside the city walls. He arrives at the bustling warrior base, taking in the sight of seasoned fighters everywhere and realizing just how big the world of martial arts really is. He studies the bounty board, noting the massive rewards for hunting beasts, and he cannot help but laugh at the primitive requirement of cutting off ears for proof. He watches other hunters trade their haul when suddenly the crowd parts for a group of elites. Led by the arrogant young Master Yi, Su Hong recognizes the vibe. This guy is just as dangerous as White Fox, and he listens to the whispers of others who despise the young master's ego. He keeps his guard up, catching the cold, calculating gaze of the young master, and he stares back, unflinching and ready. He knows the wilderness is a place where humans can be just as deadly as the monsters, and as he heads to the gates, a guard warns him about going in alone. The guard sighs, expecting the ignorant kid to become another casualty, but Su Hong steps into the dense, shadowed forest, fully committed to returning with a massive haul. 2 hours pass in the eerie silence of the woods, and he wonders why he has not encountered a single beast yet. He pushes deeper into the thicket until he hears a rustle in the brush, and a massive, glowing-eyed shadow moon wolf leaps out from the darkness. He recognizes the beast from his studies, and the creature lets out a terrifying blood-curdling roar as it lunges at him, signaling the start of his first real hunt. Su Hong plunges into the wilderness, but he's immediately met with a terrifying shadow moon wolf. And as the beast lunges, he narrowly dodges, channeling his energy into a crackling fist and delivering a devastating thunder rush fist that strikes true. The wolf is sent flying, crashing into the trees. And Su Hong stands over his first kill, feeling the adrenaline of the hunt coursing through his veins. He realizes he's ready for more, setting his sights on tougher prey, and soon finds himself face to face with a massive, raging black bear. With a single powerful strike, he takes it down, realizing his strength is growing rapidly, and he harvests his reward. While the system alerts him that he's finally ready to break through to the rank of warrior, he surges with newfound power but suddenly senses a dangerous looming presence nearby. He moves with caution, scouting the terrain until he discovers a group of hunters struggling against a lethal black jade python. The beast crushes their defenses, sending them flying in a brutal display of power. And Su Hong watches, realizing the danger, but he leaps into the fray, dodging the python's massive tail and marveling at its terrifying speed. The hunters are left reeling, coughing up blood, and Su Hong steps in, claiming the fallen spear to join the fight. He wipes the blood from his lip, grips the weapon firmly, and locks eyes with the deadly serpent. The python roars, but Su Hong knows he has the skills to take it down. Using his speed to dance around its strikes, he delivers a precise blow and realizes he has the perfect opening to end this. He unleashes the Rage Sea Spear technique, piercing the beast's armor with fluid, deadly force, causing the python to shriek in agony as Su Hong maneuvers around its thrashing body. He tightens his grip, channeling his aura into the spear and focusing his intent for one final decisive strike. He lunges forward, landing a critical hit that cripples the beast. And he continues to strike, wearing the monster down. He knows he has to be patient, waiting for the perfect moment to finish it, and he unleashes a perfect thunder rush fist to daze the creature, before creating distance to recover and preparing for the final blow. He's exhausted but determined, watching as the python trembles, nearing its end. He readies his spear one last time, but suddenly he senses a new threat and spins around to find he's being watched. A group of elites steps out of the shadows, laughing. And as Su Hong prepares to defend himself, he's blindsided by a sudden powerful attack, leaving him wounded and gasping for air. He looks up to see his rivals, the group from the base. And young Master Yi smirks, demanding he hand over the kill. Su Hong stands his ground, facing a group of elites who have just arrived, but young Master Yi sneers, mocking him for surviving the wilderness and stealing his kill. He points to the dying black jade python, claiming it as his own. And Su Hong realizes he's outnumbered by 5 warriors and needs a plan. One of the thugs lunges forward, demanding he hand over the beast and get lost, but Su Hong refuses to back down, his fist crackling with raw, surging energy. He unleashes a devastating punch, and the sheer power of the strike leaves the thug reeling in shock. Su Hong follows up with a brutal blow, and the thug collapses, defeated in a single exchange. Young Master Yi watches, recognizing the technique and comparing him to his rival White Fox. And Su Hong wonders why he's being compared to such a dangerous figure. He fumes, humiliated that a nobody would dare defy him in front of his men, and he orders his group to surround and kill him. Su Hong darts into the dense forest to escape the closing trap, but the elites pursue him, wary of an ambush in the thicket. One of them laughs, questioning why they're afraid of a single target, but Su Hong strikes from the shadows, moving with blinding speed. He locks eyes with his attackers, his gaze cold and focused, and he delivers a crushing blow that sends another elite flying. The man coughs up blood, broken and defeated, while young Master Yi curses, stunned by the boy's impossible speed. His men panic, recognizing the legendary Thunder Rush Fist and realizing they've underestimated him, but he screams at them to shut up, terrified by Su Hong's perfection. Su Hong watches from the trees, calculating his next move while his energy recovers, and he decides to pick them off one by one. He drops from the canopy, striking with lethal precision, and he closes the distance before they can even react. With a swift, powerful kick, he takes out another opponent, and the elite falls, leaving Yi and his remaining men exposed. The survivors beg to retreat, but Yi refuses, blinded by his rage. He lunges at Su Hong, determined to end him, but Su Hong effortlessly dodges the clumsy assault and counters with a strike that leaves Yi staggering. He gasps, wondering how the boy has grown so strong in just a few days. And Su Hong circles him like a predator. He lashes out in desperation, but Su Hong is already behind him, ready to strike. He tries to muster his energy for a final defense, but Su Hong unleashes the void-piercing finger, and the force of the attack shatters the surroundings, tearing through the very trees behind them. He strikes repeatedly, overwhelming Yi's defenses, and Yi realizes in horror that this is not just a low-level technique. He screams, threatening to wipe out Su Hong's entire family if he survives, and Su Hong's eyes flare with a terrifying cold light. He strikes again, closing the distance instantly, and Yi tries to leverage his family's status to save his life. Su Hong ignores the threats, his aura surging with lethal intent, and he delivers a final crushing blow. He is sent crashing into the earth, defeated and broken. and the impact kicks up a massive cloud of dust. Su Hong stands over him, his presence heavy and suffocating, and he warns Yi that threatening his family was his biggest mistake. Yi lies in the dirt coughing blood and unable to comprehend his loss. But suddenly, the black jade python emerges from the shadows fully recovered and enraged, and Su Hong realizes he's been distracted for far too long. Su Hong stands ready, his aura crackling with lethal intent, while his enemies watch from the shadows, stunned by his freakish power. And they realize their leader has failed to stop the boy. Su Hong bursts from the forest, forcing them to confront him, but the massive black jade python erupts from the ground, and in the chaos, Su Hong uses the beast to crush his pursuers, claiming their lives and earning precious martial points in the process. He narrowly avoids the serpent's thrashing tail, knowing he finally has enough power to break through his limits, so he leaps through the canopy, searching for a hideout, and spots a secluded cave to make his stand. He dives into the darkness, but the python follows, slamming into the earth with earth-shattering force, and Su Hong braces himself as the beast burrows inside, its massive jaws snapping at him in the confined space. Su Hong pulls up his system interface, frantically channeling his energy, feeling his blood boil like molten magma, until his energy hits the critical threshold, and he finally breaks through to become a true warrior. Now fully empowered, he draws back his fist, his eyes glowing with newfound strength, and he delivers a devastating blow that sends the python reeling, its roar echoing as it strikes back. But Su Hong is faster, charging up his diamond fist, and leaping onto the beast's back, he unleashes a strike that cracks its armor, gritting his teeth through the exhaustion. He grips his spear with white-knuckled focus and drives it down with a thunderous blue-lit strike, pinning the monster to the ground before finishing it with a final crackling thunder rush fist, the impact shaking the very foundations of the cave, until the beast finally falls defeated at last. Su Hong stands over the carcass, his power surging, and he realizes he needs to harvest a trophy to collect his reward, so he makes his way back to the base, walking with the confidence of a seasoned hunter, passing the broken body of his rival, and he pauses to loot the fallen man's belongings, discovering a manual for the void-piercing finger. He returns to his camp under the moonlight, retreating into the quiet of the night, where he begins to study the technique, forcing his mind to manifest the skill. And feeling the energy pierce through his own body, he pushes the skill to its limits, successfully mastering the first level, though the strain leaves him coughing up blood. And 3 days later, he tests his new power on a massive bear, piercing its hide with a single concentrated finger strike, and confirming he has reached perfection in this lethal art. He arrives at the warrior base, where the crowd is buzzing about his massive haul, marveling at the quality of his kills, and the clerk tallies his earnings to a staggering 460 coins, leaving Su Hong worried that he's drawn too much attention. Suddenly, the base goes into total lockdown, and the warriors panic as the gates slam shut, while the base director Yi Chi marches in with murder in his eyes, demanding to know why the base is in chaos. And he screams in agony, revealing his nephew has been killed, leaving the crowd in shock at the news of the 5-man team's demise, though some whisper that the arrogant brat deserved his fate. Yi Chi orders a full search of every warrior, and Su Hong realizes he is the prime suspect, feeling the weight of their gazes as he wonders if they've already pegged him as the killer. And the director cuts through the crowd, walking straight toward him, his eyes locking onto Su Hong with a terrifying, cold promise of retribution. Su Hong stands ready, his aura crackling with lethal intent, while the base director Yi Chi corners him with a cold, murderous promise of retribution, and the surrounding warriors whisper, suspecting the boy of foul play in the disappearance of the elite team. They move to surround him, threatening force if he dares to resist, but Su Hong's speed is blinding, and he stops them in their tracks with a display of skill that leaves them reeling in shock. He stands his ground, coolly questioning if they really want to challenge a student from the prestigious number 1 high. And the director hesitates, knowing the school's reputation for protecting its own, yet he remains suspicious, fearing that offending a potential genius could be a fatal mistake. Yi Chi demands cooperation, citing the theft of his family's martial arts, and he attempts to bribe Su Hong with 10,000 yuan to submit to a search. But Su Hong counters, demanding 30,000 and betting on the fact that they have no evidence to trace the crime to him. They search him thoroughly, and finding nothing, they're forced to pay up and let him walk away. Su Hong breathes a sigh of relief, knowing his careful cleanup saved him from disaster, and he heads off to freshen up, determined to reach the Warrior Association for his official assessment. Back in his hotel room, he pulls up his system interface and marvels at his accumulated 534 martial Dao points, realizing he is agonizingly close to breaking through to the middle stage. He decides to test the effects of his stats, and though raising his spirit feels subtle pumping points into his mortal body, grants him a massive, noticeable surge in raw strength. With his stats optimized and his points depleted, he funnels the remainder into his blood energy and feels an endless, overwhelming power flooding his veins as his body undergoes a rapid, intense transformation. He manages to stabilize his form, hiding his newfound muscle mass to avoid unwanted attention. and arrives at the Star City Warrior Association, where he calmly registers for the official assessment. The clerk explains the requirements: 100 blood energy and 1,000 combat power, while the other warriors mock the lone kid, assuming he's just there to play around. Su-hong's eyes sharpen with focus, and as the failed candidates clear out, he steps up to the plate. He breezes through the blood energy test with a score of 105, then moves to the combat power machine and unleashes a devastating strike that echoes through the hall, shattering the device with a staggering 1763 points. The crowd erupts in disbelief, whispering that he must be a secret disciple of the legendary Jiang Ming, and even the local elites are baffled by his mysterious origins. Su-hong steps up for his final test, scoffing at the doubters who think he cannot compete with them, and the examiner watches in horror as the machine struggles to register his true potential. He clears the energy requirement with a 123. And his rival panics, desperately clinging to the hope that combat power will be his saving grace. Su-hong approaches the combat device again, calculating how much strength he needs to show without revealing his full hand and deciding on 50% to be safe. He throws a punch that obliterates the target, sending the entire machine flying across the room and destroying it in a shower of sparks. The onlookers are left speechless by his raw, terrifying power. As the broken display flashes a monstrous 3,004 points, and the news of this monster spreads like wildfire through the base. High above, the leadership watches the chaos unfold, realizing they've finally found the genius they've been waiting for. In her office, the association president Wu Lingxian is fuming over the lack of talent in her city, worried that her position is at risk, until a frantic subordinate bursts in with the news of the anomaly, and she stares in shock, realizing a true prodigy has just arrived. Su-hong stands at the peak of his power, a true monster in the making, and he arrives at the bustling Martial Association's Central Hall to claim his official status, where a clerk prepares to guide him through the registration process. But the atmosphere shifts instantly as a commanding figure descends the stairs, revealing the stunning and powerful President Wu Lingxian, who locks eyes with Su-hong and demands he follow her, immediately leaving him stunned as he realizes this is the legendary Tier 5 warrior herself, and she ushers him into the privacy of her office, where she reveals she knows all about his hidden potential and his school. So Su-hong cautiously asks why he's been brought here, but she dismisses his worries, confirming his certificate and stipend are already handled, and she offers to personally teach him the secrets of guidance arts. While Su-hong recounts the basic textbook definition of absorbing spiritual energy, but she corrects him, demonstrating how these arts are far more than simple cultivation, as she ignites her fist with destructive fire attribute power, and explains that true masters can even project these attributes at range, leaving Su-hong shocked that such offensive potential was never mentioned in his classes. As she breaks down the 7 elemental attributes and their hierarchy of power, then she pulls out a special crystal ball to test his elemental compatibility, explaining that while she boasts a rare 80% affinity, most warriors struggle to reach 30%. And she challenges him to see if he can surpass her own impressive score, while Su-hong nervously wonders if he should hold back to avoid drawing too much attention. But as he touches the orb, a blinding, overwhelming light erupts, and the crystal screams to life, hitting a perfect, impossible 100% compatibility, leaving the president breathless as she realizes he can absorb energy without losing a single drop, and she compares his god-like talent to her own, realizing why she reached Tier 5 so quickly, while she stares at him, stunned that such a prodigy emerged from a small city. But Su-hong secretly wonders if he can test his affinity for other elements. And as he shifts his focus, the orb explodes with a violent, crackling golden thunder, leaving the room bathed in electric light, and he casually notes that his thunder affinity is also a perfect 100%, while the president stares in absolute terror, questioning what kind of inhuman monster she has found. But Su-hong pushes further, revealing his wind affinity is also maxed out, and a heavy, stunned silence settles over the office as the president struggles to process that he has mastered every single attribute, and she reflects on her own journey, realizing how ordinary she seems compared to him, while she envisions the terrifying world-ending threats that only someone like him could face, and she realizes he is the anomaly that will change the fate of the human race, a true singular existence that defies all logic, as she watches him finally understanding the weight of his potential. But Su-hong is only frustrated, feeling that focusing on one path would be a waste of his gifts, so he boldly asks her to provide him with all 7 guidance arts, and she warns him of the legendary failures who tried to multitask and remained weak, but she reluctantly agrees to let him try, provided he does not squander his talent. Then she pivots to the upcoming school exams and explains the escalating war between the races, urging him to join the elite genius training camp, promising him a spot if he takes first place, and Su-hong, haunted by the memories of his family's past, accepts the mission with grim resolve, swearing that he will become strong enough to ensure no more tragedy ever touches his home. So he returns to the quiet of his room under the night sky, and he proudly shows his warrior id to his aunt and uncle, who weep with joy at his success. while he promises them a better life now that he is the pillar of their family, and he looks into the mirror, his eyes burning with a new singular purpose. Then he sits in the darkness channeling his energy until his body glows with intense heat as his eyes flare with a terrifying hidden power. And he strikes the air, his fist wreathed in flames, though he is confused when the strike lacks the explosive force he expected, and he wonders why his beginner-level art feels so hollow until he checks his system panel and sees the new entry for his guidance art. And he realizes with a jolt that his technique actually has a level and a progress bar, leaving him to wonder if he is the only person in the world who can actually level up his cultivation. Su-hong stares at his system panel, realizing he can actually level up his guidance arts, but he's hit with a harsh warning. He's completely out of martial Dao points. Frustrated but undeterred, he spends the night in intense glowing meditation, pushing his body to master all 7 elemental guidance arts simultaneously. He quickly realizes why this is considered a fool's errand, as the conflicting energies tear at his focus, but he manages to isolate them, testing his control by manifesting a flickering flame in his palm. He tries to force a second attribute into the mix, but the energies violently repel each other, fizzling out into nothingness. He does not give up, sensing a resonance between thunder and fire, and he pushes his will to the limit, trying to force a fusion. Again and again, his rooftop practice ends in explosive failure, yet he keeps going until the sun begins to rise. Breathing heavily, he pours every ounce of his remaining stamina into one final attempt, his hand trembling as the 2 distinct energies begin to hum in harmony. With a roar of effort, he forces them together, and finally a stable, crackling fusion ignites in his hand. He's done it. He's successfully fused 2 attributes after an entire night of struggle. Now it's time to see what this new power can actually do in the field. He heads to the martial arena and approaches a Tier 3 combat tester, hoping this one will not shatter under his strength. He channels just 30% of his power into a fused strike, and the machine flashes a staggering 2343, leaving him stunned by the growth. He realizes his pure thunder power is already overwhelming, but he wants to see the true potential of his fused thunder-fire technique. He unleashes a concentrated blow, and the display spikes to 3041, shattering his previous records. He realizes he's already surpassed Tier 1 upper stage warriors with just a fraction of his strength, and he can't help but wonder what would happen if he fused all 7 elements. He decides to head back, already planning his next breakthrough. Exhausted but satisfied, he collapses under the open sky. Knowing that while the path is difficult, he is making progress no one else could dream of. He checks his system, noting the level-up potential of his arts, and prepares for the upcoming exam. The next day, the school grounds are packed for the monthly exam, where the principal announces a massive shift. The top 3 students will earn a spot in the elite genius training camp. The crowd goes wild at the mention of Grandmaster instructors and rare resources, and Su-hong vows to take his place among the best. But he's confused when he hears he needs first place to secure his slot, and he realizes his classmates have been training harder than he thought, with many reaching warrior status. They've been receiving private lessons, and their techniques are sharper than ever, but Su-hong just smirks, ready to show them who the real genius is. Meanwhile, the school leadership is busy hosting guests, and they are surprised by the arrival of the legendary Jiang Ming. Jiang Ming brings his own disciples looking to stir up trouble, and he arrogantly challenges the school to a spar, hoping to humiliate them. The principal is furious, feeling backed into a corner, but he has no choice but to accept the challenge to save face. One of the visiting disciples spots Su-hong in the crowd, and Jiang Ming turns his gaze toward the boy, instantly recognizing the little monster who caused such a stir. The visiting teachers are shocked to see Su-hong is just a student here, and they quickly realize their disciples do not stand a chance against him. They scramble to back out of the challenge, pretending it was all a joke, but the tension is already at a breaking point. The match is officially called, and Su-hong steps onto the arena floor, facing off against his opponent, who tries to intimidate him. The guy talks big, threatening to knock him down, but Su-hong moves with terrifying speed, and with a single fluid motion, he sends his opponent flying. The crowd watches in stunned silence as Su-hong stands tall, having ended the fight before it even truly began. Su-hong has just decimated his opponent in a flash, leaving the crowd stunned as he advances to the finals. And the school leadership watches in disbelief, questioning how they missed such a talent, while they struggle to place where they've seen him before. And they turn their attention to the other semifinal match, where Chen Shan and Li Tu are locked in a fierce high-speed exchange. And Li Tu taunts his rival, goading him to unleash his trump card, but Chen Shan retaliates with a heavy blow, and he roars, refusing to let his opponent take the win, while the spectators gasp in shock as Chen Shan reveals his mastery of attribute projection. But Su-hong watches calmly, unimpressed by the display, and the crowd loses their minds when Li Tu counters with an even stronger metal attribute projection, while Li Tu pushes his advantage, and he unleashes his signature 5-clap Thunder Rush Fist. hammering his opponent with a barrage of strikes, and the teachers are stunned realizing Li Tu has reached a level of subtle mastery in just 10 days, while they write off Su Hong's chances, believing he can't possibly overcome such refined technique. But one bold observer bets 50,000 on Su Hong to take the championship. And the tension peaks as the finalists finally step onto the arena floor, while Li Tu mocks Su Hong, calling him lucky for making it this far, and Su Hong simply smirks, finally finding someone worth his time. But Li Tu insists that he is the undisputed first place. And he lunges forward with a devastating strike, while he declares that one move is all it takes to show the gap in their power. And the crowd panics, realizing Li Tu is opening with his ultimate technique. But Su Hong's eyes flare with a terrifying hidden intensity, and he decides to test his own physical limits, while the spectators scream for the referee to intervene, thinking Su Hong is committing suicide. And the two forces collide in a blinding explosion of energy as they trade blow for blow in the center of the ring. And Li Tu is left reeling, shocked that his ultimate move was cancelled out by simple punches, while Su Hong continues his relentless assault. And Li Tu struggles to comprehend the sheer weight of every strike, while the audience watches in awe, realizing Su Hong is matching a master-level skill with raw power alone. And the school leaders celebrate, finally realizing they've produced a true monster, but they remain skeptical, noting that Li Tu still has the advantage of condensed attributes. And Su Hong forces his opponent back with a single powerful shove, while Li Tu refuses to back down, still convinced of his victory. And he charges in for one final desperate attempt, while Su Hong sighs, annoyed that his opponent forced him to stop holding back, and he gathers his energy, preparing to end the fight, while he warns Li Tu that he's about to show him some real respect. And Li Tu's face turns pale as he realizes Su Hong can also project attributes, while the teachers are struck dumb by the sudden surge of lightning, and they tremble in terror as they realize Su Hong has mastered the thunder art to perfection as the two powers clash one last time. And Li Tu realizes with horror that his metal attribute is being completely overwhelmed, while Su Hong smiles, ready to reveal his own trump card. And he unleashes a strike that crackles with absolute dominance, sending Li Tu flying with a 9-clap thunder strike. And Li Tu screams in disbelief as he hits the ground, while Su Hong stands over him, the undisputed victor, and a stunned silence falls over the entire arena while the students erupt into chaos, unable to process what they just witnessed. And the teachers finally recognize Su Hong as the true dragon of their city, while they realize he is destined to crush the elites at the training camp. And Su Hong walks away knowing he has finally outgrown this small pond, as the principal watches him go, knowing his true journey is only just beginning. Su Hong returns home after his victory, and his family is overjoyed to hear he secured first place, confirming his spot in the elite training camp. But the celebration is interrupted by a sudden aggressive pounding at the door, where an arrogant woman demands to speak with him. Su Hong opens the door, unimpressed by her presence, and she reveals herself as a parent trying to bribe him into giving up his spot for her son. She flashes a wad of cash, offering him 30,000 yuan to step aside. But Su Hong and his family just stare at her, completely unbothered by her greed. She loses her temper, ranting about how dangerous the camp is and how he'll likely die, claiming that dropping out is actually for his own good. His aunt, clearly shaken, asks if there is any truth to the woman's threats. So his uncle steps in to calm her down, while asking Su Hong if he can truly guarantee his own safety. Su Hong looks them in the eye and gives a firm, unwavering yes, and he shuts down the woman's interference, telling her that if he cannot trust his own family, he certainly will not trust her. He slams the door in her face, leaving her outside to scream empty threats about his inevitable failure. Su Hong apologizes for the stress, but his family insists it's fine, and his uncle tells him that they trust his resolve and will support him no matter what. They embrace, reminding him that his safety is the only thing that matters, and Su Hong smiles, feeling ready for the challenge ahead. That night, he stands on the rooftop, reflecting on his family's love and his need to grow stronger to protect them. He checks his system, noting he has 285 points, but needs more power, so he decides to focus entirely on boosting his physical combat stats. He pours his points into his body, pushing his mortal body to 64.6% as he recovers. And he's shocked to see his guidance arts have leveled up to rank 2 on their own. He realizes that steady cultivation is the key, so he begins training his thunder and flame arts simultaneously, and by the next dawn, his eyes snap open with newfound intensity as he successfully pushes his guidance arts to level 3. He checks his status again, seeing his blood energy has spiked as a bonus, and he heads out to meet his destiny, waving goodbye to his family as he walks into the city, while they watch him go, still trembling with worry but filled with pride. They share a quiet moment, admitting their fear, and Su Hong continues his stride, focused and calm. Suddenly, a flash of energy catches his attention as a red sports car screeches to a halt right in front of him. A mysterious, beautiful woman tells him to get in, and they speed off onto the highway. with Su Hong sitting in the passenger seat wondering what this is about. He asks the president of the Martial Arts Association why she summoned him, and she warns him that the training camp is filled with monsters, some of whom are already at the upper stage of Tier 1 and nearing Tier 2. She explains that they all possess B-rank techniques, but Su Hong remains unfazed knowing he can master anything the system gives him. She tells him that while his talent is unmatched, he lacks their resources, and Su Hong thanks her for the advice, his resolve unshaken. She watches him impressed by his calm, knowing he has the perfect mindset to survive the pressure. The journey begins as Su Hong and the other candidates are transported deep into the heart of the dangerous Tanlin mountain range, where the students are visibly shaken learning that this territory is crawling with lethal high-level beasts. But Su Hong remains calm listening as they describe the massive energy-rich expanse that spans across multiple major cities. And he watches the wilderness, knowing that even the outer ring predators here are far more savage than anything he has faced before, as the reality sets in that even seasoned Tier 2 warriors would hesitate to tread these grounds, and the transport speeds through the dense, ominous forest, where glowing red eyes watch them from the shadows of the trees, making the other students panic wondering if they are being hunted, while Su Hong feels a thrill of excitement, realizing he is finally entering a world where he can truly test his limits. And they arrive at the base camp, a fortified zone, where the elite candidates from across the region gather, as Su Hong surveys the crowd curious to see the caliber of the so-called geniuses he'll be competing against. And he notes the presence of powerful, arrogant youths who clearly believe they are superior to everyone else, while the other students stare at Su Hong intimidated by his composed, unreadable expression. And Su Hong just smiles to himself, unfazed by the tension in the air, as he confidently steps forward ready to begin the challenge. And a stern official approaches them signaling that the time for talk is over, while the students are shocked to learn there is an entrance assessment before they even reach the camp and the atmosphere shifts, when a fleet of luxury cars arrives carrying the arrogant elites from the big clans, as the vehicles screech to a halt kicking up dust and demanding everyone's attention. And the influential heirs step out looking down on the rest of the candidates, as if they are beneath notice while the crowd whispers about their immense talent and high-tier attributes. And the elites march through the center of the group, expecting the others to clear a path for them, as Su Hong stands among the crowd, observing these geniuses with a critical eye. And he decides he wants to see exactly how much substance lies behind their flashy reputations, while the official finally steps up to deliver the rules for the entrance test, and he reveals that the camp is 30 kilometers away, hidden deep within the mountains, as he holds up a token, explaining that they must hunt beasts to retrieve them if they want to qualify. And the students start to murmur, realizing that 8 hours in such a dangerous zone is a recipe for disaster, while Su Hong thinks to himself that this is the perfect opportunity to hunt beasts and rack up massive points. And a student asks what happens if they encounter a beast they cannot handle, as the official coldly replies that they will be eliminated, though their lives will be spared. And the students protest, calling the system unfair and luck-based, but the official shuts them down, declaring that the world is not a game, and only the strong survive, while the arrogant elites mock the weaker students, calling them trash for being afraid. And a heated confrontation breaks out as a candidate challenges an elite to a fight, as the official coldly permits the violence, stating that once they enter the mountains anything goes, and the elites immediately begin intimidating the others, using their power to assert dominance, while Su Hong watches the chaos, realizing that the camp is designed to force them into conflict, and he calculates that fighting these arrogant elites might actually be the fastest way to earn points. As the official finally gives the signal and the race to the camp begins, and the candidates scramble into the forest desperate to secure their spots, while Su Hong moves with calculated precision, quickly distancing himself from the pack, and he encounters 2 elites who are busy bullying a weaker student. As one of them lunges at Su Hong, fueled by pure arrogance, and Su Hong effortlessly counters the strike, his eyes cold and focused as the 2 forces collide with a massive shockwave, and Su Hong unleashes a flurry of strikes, overwhelming his opponent with sheer speed. While the elite struggles to keep up, realizing he is completely outclassed, and Su Hong stands back, disappointed that these geniuses are so weak, as he turns to leave, deciding that hunting beasts is a better use of his time. But the elites refuse to let it go, continuing to spew insults about his background. And Su Hong stops, his patience finally wearing thin, as he realizes he might as well take their points before he goes, and he tells them to stop wasting his time and just attack him together, as he stands ready holding a simple wooden club. And the elites laugh, mocking him for thinking he can take them on, while Su Hong calmly invites them to test their luck, and they charge at him, convinced they can crush him in seconds, as Su Hong moves like a blur, dodging their attacks with ease. And he delivers a precise, powerful strike, while the elite falls to the ground, stunned that he was defeated by a single move. And Su Hong turns his attention to the second opponent, as the final elite realizes in terror that he is facing a monster. And Su Hong ends the fight, instantly leaving them both defeated in the dirt. Su Hong lands a crushing blow, and as his arrogant opponents collapse, he warns them about looking down on ordinary cultivators, while back at the command center, officials watch the footage in shock, wondering if they should be disqualified. But the lead official coldly declares that since they did not ask for rescue, the assessment continues, and the defeated elites groan in agony, clutching their injuries, as the reality of their loss sinks in while they scramble away nursing their bruised egos. And Su-hong watches them retreat, his expression cold and focused, while one elite curses his own arrogance for underestimating him, and they share a silent, bitter look of mutual defeat before begrudgingly apologizing to each other. And they decide to team up to hunt Su-hong down for revenge, while Su-hong moves like a blur through the forest, his eyes scanning the wilderness with intense focus, and he sighs as he encounters yet another pack of Tier 1 boars. While the beasts charge at him with lethal speed, and Su-hong stands his ground ready to unleash his power as he activates his lightning-infused strike and obliterates the pack in a single devastating motion. While he notes that his points are increasing slower as he grows stronger, and he realizes he needs to find a token quickly, so he begins searching the carcasses, but finds nothing, concluding that only higher-level beasts carry them. And he continues his hunt, moving deeper into the woods, while he wonders why the beast density has suddenly dropped, and a massive Tier 1 Dark Knight black tiger lunges from the shadows, but Su-hong reacts instantly, his eyes glowing with excitement. And he channels his energy into a precise piercing strike which slams the beast into the earth, and he follows up with a powerful finishing blow, driving his spear through the creature. As he gains a massive boost in points, and he quickly searches the body for the elusive token, finally pulling it from the beast's stomach, with a grin while he realizes that the deeper he goes the rarer the beasts become. So he decides that hunting weaker beasts in bulk is the more efficient path to victory, and he grips the token tightly, determined to maximize his gains as he sets off again with 5 hours remaining, and he leaves a trail of defeated beasts in his wake, clearing out entire groups of predators until he encounters a ferocious larger beast, and he prepares to strike with his flaming fist, launching a powerful blast that connects perfectly. And the beast lets out a final guttural roar as Su-hong stares into its eyes with unwavering resolve and delivers the final crushing blow, sending the creature crashing into a massive tree. While he flexes his arm, feeling his physical strength surging, and he checks his status, seeing his progress nearing completion as he stands ready for the final stretch, and suddenly a massive shockwave ripples through the mountains, causing Su-hong to stop in his tracks as the legendary Golden Rock Beast King descends from the sky, and its wings beat with a terrifying thunderous force, while Su-hong braces himself, realizing he is facing a truly overwhelming power. A massive shockwave ripples through the mountains, tearing through the ancient trees, as Su-hong stops in his tracks, stunned by the sheer intensity of the aura, realizing that in the face of such overwhelming power, he is still just an ant. But his eyes lock onto a blinding flash in the sky, where the legendary Golden Rock Beast King descends with thunderous force, only to be confronted by Grandmaster Tanlin, who radiates a golden divine energy, as the beast shrieks, refusing to yield its territory to the human. And Tanlin snaps back, declaring he'll beat the beast into submission, launching a devastating strike that slams into the rock, forcing the massive creature to recoil in pain, as the Grandmaster shouts over the deafening noise, unleashing a flurry of golden blasts that rain down like meteors, and delivering a final crushing blow that sends the beast spiraling, while Tanlin coldly warns the creature to vacate the land, and the beast, humbled and terrified, finally retreats. As the Grandmaster turns his gaze toward the training camp, announcing to all participants that the assessment will continue despite the chaos, while Su-hong watches from the shadows, awestruck by the display of a Tier 7 warrior, and he vows that one day he will reach that very same level of power. As the Grandmaster departs, leaving the camp in his wake, while back at the command center, he complains about the beast's stubbornness, and his subordinates Lin Zi and Bai Mu marvel at his effortless dominance as Tanlin orders them to monitor the students who survived the pressure. And they pull up the surveillance footage showing the candidates struggling to move until they spot a lone student who managed to kill a pack of black tigers, and they identify him as Su-hong, the son of the Star City Lord, as they watch him navigate the forest with incredible speed. And they note how he effortlessly counters the environmental pressure, while they compare him to the other elites, wondering why the top students from the major clans are being outperformed, and they realize that the students from Star City might be more than they seem. As they suddenly freeze, staring at the screen in utter disbelief, because Su-hong is still hunting fierce beasts with terrifying efficiency, and the staff members begin to tremble, realizing they are watching a monster, while the Grandmaster scolds them for their lack of composure. But even he cannot hide his shock at the data on the screen, as he tears the report apart, unable to believe what he is seeing, and his eyes widen as he realizes the sheer potential of this boy, reading the file that confirms Su-hong's perfect compatibility. And he gasps, realizing he has found a once-in-a-thousand-years talent, as he grips the paper, his face lighting up with greedy excitement, while his subordinates question how such a talent could be so underdeveloped, and the Grandmaster realizes the boy is training 7 arts at once. as he decides to personally go and inspect the arrival of the participants, and he greets the survivors acknowledging their hard work, while the students arrive at the camp exhausted and shaken by the encounter as the Grandmaster looks over the crowd impatient for the final stragglers. Wondering where his new greatest treasure has gone, and suddenly Su Hong walks out of the forest covered in blood as he sighs realizing he was so focused on points, he almost missed the deadline, while the other students stare at him, terrified by his blood-soaked appearance. And his rivals wait in the shadows, plotting their revenge in the camp, as the instructors observe him with newfound interest, and the official declares the assessment over while he introduces the advanced training facilities, including the legendary martial skills pavilion, and Su Hong realizes he has finally reached the place he needs to grow as the official, explains the importance of contribution points, and reveals that only the best will earn the rewards they crave. While he dismisses the injured to the dorms, and Su Hong slips into his private room eager to finally evolve, as he opens his status menu ready to spend his hard-earned points, and the energy surges through his body pushing his limits until his mortal body reaches 100% evolution, unlocking his true potential. Su Hong channels his energy, feeling the raw power of his Overlord body surging within, and he releases a shockwave of force that clears the air around him as he stands tall, marveling at the incredible physical strength he now possesses. He realizes his pure physical burst is unlike anything he has ever felt, and with his spirit tier at 0%, he knows his potential for evolution is limitless. Determined to test his new strength, he grabs his spear, and with a casual grip, the C-rank alloy begins to groan under the pressure, leaving him shocked that he could almost snap such durable equipment, but he sighs remembering how expensive it was, then resolves to earn enough contribution points to upgrade to an A-rank weapon. He decides to test his limits with a weighted vest, and heads to the storage room, where he is stunned to find he can handle 30 kilograms with ease, while the other students watch in disbelief as he moves effortlessly, and even the elites like Wang Tianchuo are left speechless by his freakish power as the instructors monitor his progress from the command center, where they discuss how to handle Su Hong's unique cultivation of 7 arts, and Grandmaster Qin warns them to be subtle lest they break the genius spirit, while they coordinate a night raid to test the students, hoping to catch them off guard and force them to reveal their true limits. So the Grandmaster orders a Tier 1 warrior to pressure Su Hong even though his subordinates worry that the gap in combat power is too wide, but the Grandmaster insists that if Su Hong can't handle the pressure, he is not worth training. Meanwhile, the students gather to watch Wang Tianchuo head to the gravity room, and Su Hong decides to follow along to learn from the best, picking up his own smart bracelet to track his performance as he enters the training facility, eyeing the heavy equipment and wonders who could possibly wear the massive 10-ton vests. But he settles for a 5-ton vest, feeling the weight immediately drain his speed, yet he moves with purpose, testing his agility under the strain, and decides the 5-ton weight is the perfect starting point for his training. He observes the other elites, realizing they are roughly on his level, and steps into the gravity room eager to see what he can gain, while the crowd outside gasps as Wang Tianchuo walks in with his own heavy gear, setting the gravity to a brutal 2x multiplier, and Su Hong realizes he underestimated the sheer power of the savage god body. While his peers whisper about his late arrival and lack of preparation, mocking him for choosing to train while everyone else is watching the stars, but Su Hong ignores their taunts, focused entirely on his own growth, and he walks into the room unfazed by their judgment, as they continue to whisper about his supposed lack of shame, while he enters the chamber knowing this is an opportunity he cannot miss, and calculates that with his 5-ton vest and 1.5x gravity, he can hold out for a few minutes, so he sets the controls and braces for the crushing pressure, feeling the gravity slam into him like a physical weight, while the onlookers laugh, thinking he is the weakest of them all. But inside the room, Su Hong feels his cultivation speed skyrocketing, and 2 hours pass as he pushes through the agony, his eyes glowing as his energy begins to break through, until his status updates showing his blood, energy, and arts have all leveled up, and he shuts off the machine, his body trembling from the intense workout, finally stepping out of the room completely drained but stronger than ever. While the other students mock him for leaving so quickly, but Su Hong just sighs, complaining about the heat of the vest, and when he reveals his true state, the mocking students are suddenly frozen in absolute terror. The other students are stunned, realizing that Su Hong was training with a massive weighted vest the entire time, and they can't help but mock him, convinced that even with his hidden strength, he's nothing compared to the elite monster Wang Tianchuo. But the atmosphere shifts instantly when Wang Tianchuo emerges from the gravity room, having survived 6 tons of crushing pressure for 2 hours, proving he is the undisputed powerhouse of the camp. Su Hong, however, remains unfazed by the display, casually shaking off the weight as he prepares for his next move, and he approaches Wang Tianchuo, suggesting a friendly competition in the movement technique room. The crowd is shocked that he's challenging someone with a rank wind attribute technique, but Su Hong knows that while his physical body is peaking, he desperately needs to master a high-level movement skill to evolve. He enters the facility to learn the legendary Soaring Hong steps, and he watches in awe as Lin Xinghe pushes the training room to its absolute maximum difficulty. The room becomes a blur of lethal projectiles, and as Lin Xinghe weaves through the storm with effortless flowery grace, Su Hong's system begins to analyze and copy the technique, hitting 1% progress instantly. The other students notice him mimicking the moves, and they burst into laughter, mocking his attempt to copy such a high-level skill just by watching. But Su Hong's speed increases exponentially as he internalizes the pattern, his progress bar skyrocketing through the levels until he successfully masters the beginner level of the Soaring Hong steps. He realizes his own execution looks a bit too flashy compared to the original, so he decides to leave the room, eager to farm more points in the Beast Chamber. The onlookers are left speechless, wondering how he pulled off such a perfect display, while Su Hong internally cringes, realizing he accidentally copied the flamboyant style too perfectly. He dashes away, ignoring the students who are now begging him to show off the move again, but he suddenly senses someone stalking him through the shadows. It's a group of rivals waiting for him at the entrance of the Beast Room, planning to ambush him the moment he steps out. Su Hong ignores the threat and enters the chamber, where he encounters a girl named Xiao Yan who challenges him to a contest of who can kill more beasts. He scoffs at her reliance on spiritual power, but decides to watch her technique to see what a true spiritual mind master is capable of. Suddenly, she leaps into the fray, and Su Hong watches in disbelief as she defies gravity, walking on air with ease. With a flick of her wrist, she unleashes a torrent of light, obliterating a pack of Tier 1 black tigers in a single heartbeat. A massive beast lunges at her from the darkness, its eyes burning with rage, but she effortlessly binds it with her spiritual force and finishes it off with a lethal strike. Su Hong realizes the streaks of light are actually controlled daggers, and he stands in awe, finally grasping the terrifying potential of a spiritual mind master. Just then, the screen displays a giant shimmering golden sword. As she summons it to crush a massive serpent, her focus absolute and deadly, pinning the beast to the ground with overwhelming force. Su Hong is left stunned by the sheer scale of the weapon, realizing it's an rank spiritual skill that makes his own training look like child's play. He wonders how all these elites possess such high-level techniques, and he watches as they continue to dominate the field, feeling more determined than ever to reach their level. He sees Wang Tianchuo crush a beast with raw strength alone and decides he's done watching. It's time to start his own grind. He checks his stats, noting he needs 73.5 more points to bridge the gap, and he prepares to go on a total killing spree. As he enters the danger zone, the stalkers watch him go in, thinking they finally have the perfect chance to jump him while he is distracted. They creep closer, whispering to stay quiet, but then they stop dead in their tracks, staring at the monitor in pure horror. Su Hong is not just hunting. He's charging headfirst into a dozen Tier 1 beasts, ready to tear them all apart. The stalkers watch in horror, realizing they were seconds away from a death sentence, because Su Hong stands ready, his aura radiating pure, unadulterated power, and with a cold, challenging smirk, he beckons his enemies to step into the fray. Suddenly, he launches himself into a swarm of lethal beasts, moving with such blinding speed that he turns the battlefield into his own personal playground, channeling his energy into a focused strike. And with a thunderous impact, he shatters the defenses of a dozen monsters at once. He weaves through the chaos, his hands glowing with lethal intent, as he carves a path of destruction through the beast horde, leaving the watching students trembling, unable to comprehend how a Tier 1 warrior could possess such monstrous combat prowess. They recognize the familiar fluid motion of his footwork and whisper in disbelief, questioning if he truly mastered the legendary Soaring Hong steps just by observing, while they realize that challenging him is a death wish. Yet one rival refuses to back down, gripping his weapon with shaking hands, until his companion points to the screen, forcing him to face the reality of Su Hong's dominance. They stare at the monitor, their faces pale, as the sheer scale of the carnage leaves them completely speechless. In just minutes, the entire pack of upper stage beasts lies decimated at Su Hong's feet, and he checks his bracelet, noting that even with his massive gains, the climb to the top is getting harder. His eyes narrow with focus as he senses more threats lurking in the shadows, but he refuses to stop, standing atop the fallen giants as he prepares for the next wave. A massive beast lunges from the darkness, and Su Hong strikes back instantly, unleashing a devastating blow that tears through the creature's hide, creating a shockwave that clears the area, forcing the remaining predators to retreat in fear. He turns his gaze toward the cowards who stalked him, daring them to step forward, and with a sudden burst of movement, he closes the distance, crushing the remaining resistance with ruthless efficiency. Back at the command center, the instructors watch the feed in stunned silence, while the stalkers, now terrified, decide that forgiving him is the only way to survive. The crowd gathers to see the results, marveling at the elite monster's scores, and they mockingly ask the stalkers if they managed to take Su Hong down, but the duo can only tremble, realizing how close they came to being obliterated. Su Hong emerges from the chamber, his presence commanding the attention of everyone as the top elites compare their massive contribution points, and the other students whisper about the sheer impossibility of their scores, realizing that even the best are struggling to keep up with the rising difficulty. While the average students look at their own meager points in despair, they wonder who truly won the hunt, but the stalkers know the truth. A real monster is hiding in plain sight. An hour later, the training room is a graveyard of broken beasts. And Su Hong stands amidst the ruins, catching his breath after the relentless grind, feeling the weight of his exhaustion despite his incredible growth. He checks his tally, satisfied with the 700 points he's secured, and heads straight to the martial skills pavilion, where he begins browsing the rare treasures, calculating the cost of the high-level techniques he needs to evolve and realizing that, while skills are expensive, the pills are within his reach. The clerk eyes him with skepticism, assuming he's just another weak student, but Su Hong ignores her, his mind set on the spirit-gathering pill, and he notes the steep price of the Tier 4 version, confidently demanding the item. As the clerk tries to warn him of the cost, only to be shocked when his balance flashes on the screen. She hands over the treasure with a newfound sugary respect, and he adds a dual attribute spear to his haul. Returning to his room under the moonlight, where he inspects his new lethal weapon, reviewing his massive stat increase, and pulling out the precious pill, ready to consume it for the final breakthrough, knowing that his evolution into a spiritual mind master is finally within his grasp. Su Hong is ready to take his power to the next level, and he pulls out a rare Tier 4 spirit-gathering pill, which instantly surges through his body, flooding his veins with pure raw energy. Every exhausted nerve in his body relaxes, and his mind becomes crystal clear as he enters a state of heightened perception. He opens his eyes, feeling the immense shift in his internal power, and checks his status screen, stunned to see his spirit jump by a massive 24 points. He realizes he's still just 0.5 points away from his goal, so he decides to rest up and hunt one more beast in the morning. Meanwhile, at the training camp, a group of elite rivals gathers, whispering and plotting as they review their assignments. They mock one of their own, Bu Jingfeng, for being stuck with a nobody student, but Bu Jingfeng is already fuming, insulted that he has to waste his time on a weakling. They laugh about the high stats of their own targets, boasting that they've been assigned to take down top-tier geniuses and spiritual mind masters. Then Bu Jingfeng holds up Su Hong's file, complaining about his pathetic 123 blood energy, and the group mocks the idea of a Tier 1 lower-stage kid being a threat. Suddenly, Grandmaster Qin walks in his presence, silencing the room, and he coldly shuts down their complaints, insisting that Su Hong is far more dangerous than he appears. The rivals are skeptical, unable to fathom how a low-level student could be a monster, but Qin warns them that parts of Su Hong's profile are classified for a reason. He orders them to go all out and crush the kid's spirit. And Bu Jingfeng, sensing a grudge, vows to leave Su Hong crippled. Qin just smiles, a terrifying expression that promises a reward for the carnage. With their orders set, the group launches into action, descending upon Su Hong's location under the cover of night. They burst into his room with a deafening crash, catching him completely off guard as they initiate a brutal ambush. Su Hong snaps to attention, his senses screaming that he's under attack, and he barely dodges a lethal strike that shatters his door. The attacker lunges with a glowing blade, but Su Hong leaps into the air, narrowly avoiding the devastating impact. He realizes these are not just students. They're hunting him like the myriad races do, and he grabs his spear, his eyes narrowing as he prepares to fight back. The rival mocks him, thinking it is an easy win against a lower-stage kid, but Su Hong realizes this is a human warrior, not an alien, and he grins, knowing this fight will give him the final points he needs. He channels his energy into his spear, while the rival stares in disbelief, shocked that Su Hong would dare to counterattack. They clash with a thunderous boom, and the rival is thrown back, finally feeling the sheer force of Su Hong's power. He begins to panic, realizing this is not the strength of a normal Tier 1 warrior. But Su Hong presses the advantage, forcing him onto the defensive. The rival screams in frustration as Su Hong deflects his strike with ease, leaving the attacker terrified and wondering if he's fighting a monster. The rival tries to burn him with a blazing sword technique, but Su Hong stands his ground, unfazed by the heat. He channels lightning into his weapon, and the rival panics, realizing he's facing a B-rank skill head-on. He unleashes a blazing slash, but Su Hong counters with a crackling surge of thunder, and the two forces collide in a blinding explosion of light. The room shakes from the shockwave, and as the dust settles, Su Hong stands tall, leaving his opponent trembling at the realization that he blocked a B-rank skill with raw power. The rival taunts him about his lack of spear techniques, but Su Hong just smiles, his eyes glowing with a dangerous light. He begins to fuse his lightning and fire attributes, and the rival watches in absolute horror as the elements swirl around the spear, realizing too late that he's witnessing the impossible attribute fusion. The rival stares in disbelief, knowing that attributes are meant to repel each other, and he trembles at the sight of Su Hong's impossible feat as Su Hong's eyes ignite with a lethal focused intensity, and he lunges forward, forcing his opponent into a desperate struggle for survival. The rival desperately unleashes a blazing slash, But Su Hong effortlessly deflects the strike with his spear, and he follows up with a relentless crushing barrage of attacks. The rival coughs up blood, his body failing under the sheer pressure, and with one final devastating blow, Su Hong blasts him into the wall. The system chimes as Su Hong secures the final points he needs, and he smiles, realizing he has finally evolved into a spiritual mind master. Meanwhile, outside the building, Grandmaster Qin and his assistant wait for the results, expecting to see Bu Jingfeng emerge victorious. But suddenly a body crashes through the wall, landing hard on the pavement. The dust clears to reveal the defeated rival broken and unconscious on the ground. Qin and his assistant gasp in shock, realizing that Su Hong has somehow emerged as the winner. High above, the other elites watch the scene unfold, stunned that the weak student has crushed their comrade, while the rest of the ambush party lies scattered and broken. Su Hong floats down, mocking the Grandmaster and demanding a real challenge, and he stares down the remaining elites, while the onlookers whisper in disbelief at the impossible outcome. They argue over how a Tier 1 lower stage student could possibly win. But Qin realizes the truth is far more terrifying. He wonders if Su Hong possesses a secret technique or a hidden physique, and when a subordinate rushes in with the report, Qin brushes off the casualties as mere accidents. But the subordinate screams that Su Hong used attribute fusion. Qin's expression shifts from annoyance to pure electric excitement, and he grabs his subordinate, demanding to know if it's true, as the surveillance footage confirms the impossible reality. Qin is left speechless by the sheer talent on display, knowing that even the greatest geniuses take decades to master what Su Hong did in a month. He declares Su Hong a true dragon, a monster among men, and he explains to his confused staff that this is the power of a legend. They worry about the dangers of such cultivation, but Qin knows the risk is worth the reward, realizing that if Su Hong masters all 7 attributes, he will be unstoppable. He envisions a future where Su Hong stands above even the emperors of the myriad races. Though his staff warns him to keep his composure, but Qin is already planning for the future of the human race. He is then told that Su Hong's physical strength is just as monstrous, and he realizes this kid is a world-breaking anomaly. So he decides to arrange a massive sparring session for tomorrow, eager to see exactly how far this monster can go.